Hello, friends. Happy Friday. You guys made it through the week. I am so excited for you guys. We have finally gotten through the last week of virtual learning for some of my sweet friends. You guys get to come back to school next week. I am so excited. So let us get through this last lesson for this week. All right. So today is September 4th, 2020. On this day in history, Kelly Clarkson won the first season of American Idol in 2002, which helped her launch a very successful music career. For those of you who don't know who Kelly Clarkson is, she is a very successful country singer. She was very popular when I was your age. So if you need a little bit of help, you should ask your parents if they watch The Voice. She is currently a judge on The Voice. My important messages for you guys is I hope that you have an amazing Labor Day weekend, because you guys are going to get to come back to school after the Labor Day weekend. I am so excited to see you guys. I cannot wait to see all your faces and meet you guys in person. My virtual kiddos who are staying virtual, I am still going to be so excited to get to meet with you guys and talk to you as well. So do not feel left out. I promise you are not being left out at all. So with that being said, let us get into our We Will and I Will objectives for your lessons today. So today we will summarize our completed reading of week 2 Social Studies Weekly, and I will measure my knowledge over week 2 through our online assessment. So today we are gonna kind of just talk about what we have learned this week, and we're going to summarize it and kind of just activate your schema and get you ready for your test that you are going to be taking after you watch this video. So let us start with what we started off their week with. So we started off with Roanoke. I am so excited, you guys, for our historical investigation next week. It is going to be so much fun. My virtual kiddos, I'm going to condense it for it to be online for you guys. So don't worry. I promise I'm not going to leave you guys out when we go back to school. I promise it'll be great. But I'm so excited. So I know I gave you only a snippet on Tuesday. So let us kind of just recap a little bit. So Roanoke is where current North Carolina is, and it was about 1584 when Spain was just doing its thing. They were doing amazing with discovering and sending out explorers to the New World and claiming land in the name of Spain. And unfortunately, England was like way in third place. So we had Spain, France, and England. Now, England was way behind France, and France was not doing that great either. So that just says a lot in itself. So this was when England finally decided, okay, we need to get pushing forward. We need to get our glory god in gold. We need to find our new land. We need to get going. So this is when they started to sponsor and send out Sir Walter Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh was a triple threat. He was a British poet, he was a soldier, and he was an explorer. So he was just made for this journey. And he believed that establishing colonies in North America would make England just as wealthy and powerful as Spain. So, of course, England's like, yep, go. Let's give you all the money. Let's go. So that's what they did. And so he sailed off into what is now present day North Carolina. The men, they named the island Roanoke because of the Roanoke Indians that were already inhabiting the land, and they were getting things going. Everything was looking good. You know, they had excellent land and fruit and vegetables and fish and animals, and so everyone was speaking highly of Sir Walter Raleigh's land of Roanoke. And so England was like, yes, this was a smart decision. However, the first attempt to settle the island was just not working, and English settlers didn't know how to grow food. So they started fighting with the once friendly Roanoke, and then after that, they kind of just gave up and returned to Europe. And 2 years later, Raleigh tried again to establish and set up a colony, although the settlers, they knew their work would be difficult. And there was 117 people, if we remember correctly. There was 117 people that decided to give this colony under their chance. And one of those people was Captain John White. At this time, he decided he wanted to go back to England to get more supplies and bring it back. However, he couldn't come back for 3 years because of the constant war that England and Spain was having. They were constantly butting heads because Spain was doing so well with wealth and power, and England was still trying to get going. And they were getting there, but Spain was just, no! So they were just butting heads the whole time. So Captain John White could not come back for 3 years. And when he did, he found nothing. There was no Roanoke. There was no 117 people. All he found was the name, word, place, whatever this is, carved into a tree. He found Croatoan carved into a tree, and that was it. 117 people disappeared, and all he finds is a word carved in a tree. So historians are just mind blown at what happened to these people. Did they get abducted by aliens? Yes, that was literally an option. I'm not kidding. People have questioned that one. And there was one, did they move to a new place and call it Croatoan? Is there a Croatoan tribe that we don't know about that attacked and someone had time to carve the name into a tree? What happened? They just kept trying to fit all these scenarios and nothing worked because they had no evidence. All they had was the name Croatoan carved in a tree. And so even though the Roanoke colony failed, England was still like, we got this, we can do it. They had all the hope in the world to get going. This was in the early 1600s. Wink, wink. I cannot wink. Don't laugh at me. This was in the early 1600s, specifically 1607. I got that song stuck in my head. Y'all watch Pocahontas and tell me that song does not get stuck in your head. Come back to me when y'all get there. But 1607 was when King James I was like, we need something. Let's go. This was 20 years after the failure of Roanoke. And he was just like about had it. And he was ready for somebody to get going. So he sponsored these men to create a company and sail off to North America. These men called the company the Virginia Company, and they landed in what is present-day Virginia, making some connections here, aren't we? When these men landed in North America, they landed in present-day Virginia. They named the colony Jamestown in honor of King James, and they named the surrounding area Virginia. Isn't that cool? The Roanoke was named after the Roanoke Indians. We got Jamestown named after King James. We got Virginia named after the Virginia Company. All of our names in history have some sort of meaning behind it. I think that's wonderful. So, however, when these men got to this land that they were trying to pick, it was a marshland. It was hazardous. It was difficult. It was not going to work because all the good land was taken by Spain and France. They took all the good land already. So England had marshland, and it was gross. It was not good for them. They could not get any crops going to be able to sell and trade. That's it. They couldn't get nothing going for them. They was getting nothing. And so they went through a roller coaster. Okay, so they got sponsored and they sailed and they found some land, and then we discovered the land is not what we think it is, and we can't grow anything. And we go even farther down because this is when swarm of mosquitoes with malaria starts catching everybody. And then boom, the winter happens. So we're still deep down in our little valley of a roller coaster, and the winter just takes out all these people. So originally there were 100 people. 100. That's a lot of people. And within 8 months, they were down to 38. That's what happened. They starved, they got sick with diseases from malaria, and they did not survive the winter. 8 months, went from 100 to 38. Crazy. One of those men, though, that survived was Captain John Smith. He's a pretty handy dude. He happened to get captured by the Powhatan tribe. The Powhatan chief's daughter, Pocahontas, she saved Captain John Smith's life because she didn't want him to die. She didn't want him to die. So she saved his life. And then this is when they build a beautiful friendship, and they help them. The Powhatan tribe helps the colony of Jamestown with a few things that they need help with, like hunting and fishing and planting crops that they can plant in this unfamiliar land. Now, about a year or two later, more settlers start to come, mostly women, because this is, they're trying to build families. And this was also about when another bad winter came, and we plummet. So we were good, we're bad, we're good, and we're back down bad again because we had all these people coming, and then the winter hits and we start losing people, and then we're down to 60 people. Crazy. So one of these people was John Rolfe. He married Pocahontas, and he brought tobacco with him to plant. Now, tobacco was perfect in the Jamestown soil and climate. And so that became Jamestown's gold because they were able to sell and trade it and get all kinds of moolah. I mean, they were just doing well. So we're back up on the amazing part of our roller coaster. And it kept growing, and more people started coming. And since there were so many people and they were doing so well, they needed to elect officials to help operate their colony. So this is when the House of Vergennes becomes, and it's mostly filled with wealthy men. It didn't operate to what the colony needed, but it's what helped them stay stable. And eventually, they started to realize, we didn't have this freedom we didn't have this freedom in England. England didn't give us this freedom. So we have a whole new freedom to deal with. However, their success did not last long. We're going back down the roller coaster again. The success did not last long. Roller coaster. And so this is when the colonists started to fight with the Powhatan tribe. The price of tobacco dropped. The government leaders were not being honest in the House of Vergennes. And many people died of the diseases. And so King James waltzes in and is like, I'm going to take care of this. And he snatches them up and he makes them a royal colony. He took control again. Took control. Said, y'all were in England and I had control and y'all left. Y'all thought y'all were going to get your freedom. Nope. Said nope. Took it back. That's where Jamestown is ending on them being a royal colony. And so now let's move into the first Thanksgiving. So we were talking about the friendships that was happening with the Powhatan tribe and Captain John Smith. And, another friendly relationship between Pilgrims and the Plymouth Indians. They were actually the Wampanoag Indians. I am so sorry. They were the Indians that were inhabited near Plymouth. But they were the Wampanoag Indians, Wampanoag tribe. There was Squanto, and then there was Samoset. So Squanto befriended the Pilgrims, and they showed them how to grow crops. They showed them how to fish. They showed them how to hunt. They showed them how to do everything because they didn't know. They came from England to escape all that over there. And they came over here for religious freedom. So that's one of our three. They came for God. Remember those God, glory, gold. They came for God. Not everybody comes for gold and not glory. Mostly gold and glory is the same thing. They came for God. Okay. And so the Wampanoags, they taught the Pilgrims everything. And the Pilgrims, they had nothing and then they had everything. And so they were so thankful. They were so thankful that they were blessed with all this food, all this just loving friendship that they decided to celebrate. And they invited the Wampanoag tribe to come and celebrate with them. And this is what became the first Thanksgiving. It became from kindness. It came from a friendship. I love it, y'all. I love it. Y'all know I love kindness. So This is like my favorite little thing. This is why I love Thanksgiving. It's because it's all about the friendship, all about the kindness. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And the interesting fact that we learned was that Squanto and Somerset, another Indian, but I believe he was in a different tribe. I believe it was like the Abenaki Indian tribe. They came together and they learned English. They learned English from the Pilgrims so they could communicate with them better. So there was just a beautiful friendship where they took the time to help them because they saw them struggling. So they went and helped them. They showed them kindness and helped them. And then they benefited and learned a new language, and they were able to communicate with their friends better. It's amazing. So that's how Indians had learned English, was by talking to the Pilgrims. And so the last thing that we kind of went over was kind of just how slavery begins. And unfortunately, there was a ship sailing from Holland that landed in Jamestown, and it had about 20 African men aboard the ship, and they wanted to trade the men for food. And that's what happened. They traded the men for food, and the men became indentured servants. Now remember, indentured servants are people who agree to work for another person for a specific time period in exchange for payment of the fee for passage. So it wasn't quite slavery, even though it's servitude, yes. It wasn't quite classified as slavery, but this is where we believe it began. This is where we believe the point it began, because these men helped harvest all the tobacco, and the tobacco was so successful that year after they came. And so people started sparking the interest of, oh, if we get more indentured servants to come help us, we can push out more crops. And this is where it begins. So we will definitely get more into that. We will keep talking about the hardships that came with slavery, and we will get more into it as we go. As we are learning American history, we're going to learn all of it. So we need to continue to be respectful of all these hard topics, just as we are excited and interested in the, beautiful. It's all beautiful. History is beautiful, you guys, but we have to be kind and respectful throughout all of it. Okay, and that is just what I want to leave you guys with. I hope that you guys do amazing on your test. I know you will. You guys got this. You're going to do great. I promise. So with that being said, be kind, be respectful. I cannot wait to see you guys next week. I'm so excited. I'm so ready. You guys, we're going to have a great time. We're going to make it a great school year. Even for my virtual kiddos, we're going to have a great rest of the school year. However long you need to stay virtual, it's all going to be good, my friends. We are kind and we are respectful. We have got this. So I will see you guys later. Bye.